Well, hello there, Internet. Thanks for tuning into Skid Row's Racing. On this episode, I will be installing some stuff I need to install on here. Mainly a header I got slightly secondhand. It is one of those infamous eBay headers that apparently you can't get anymore. And apparently sometimes they don't quite fit the stock exhaust past them when you go to install them. I'm going to find out about that. And another thing is just going to make it work. The ECU stock, this is just the M52 TU, so it has dual vanos like an M54, but I guess there's some other stuff unique about it. It's the 2.8 liter stock ECU, and if it doesn't play nice, I guess I'll just put the other one back in, or the other stuff back in, but I don't see why it wouldn't work better. So we're going to go over what I'm going to do to make that work, and if I need to, I'll add a resonator to the back, which I have one sitting around. So, you know, because I don't want that nasty, gnarly sound of these being straight pipe. There are 2 factory resonators under the car now, so hopefully that's still enough. If not, we'll add a 3rd. And oh yeah, engine and everything's bone stock besides a muffler delete, so muffler's gone and then it's routed out. And then it has a lukewarm air intake. So I think this will help a lot of the hot air escape better from the car, and if nothing else, my underhood temperature should be lower, and the car should just be happier when I'm abusing it. So let's get to it, show you what we got. So here's the headers. The car allegedly caught on fire once. I don't really know what caused it, and that's baked on fire extinguisher stuff. So I tried cleaning it, I couldn't get it off, but I didn't try super hard. You can see it's, if I scrape on it, it comes off kind of. Maybe I'll try to get that off. Maybe I'll just let it bake off when I drive. Who knows? I got it with these gaskets with a heat shield thingy. In theory, those are good. I have no idea. Hoping for the best. With some weird pluggy things going on here. But my plan is to just put the original O2 sensors in. I want to do the first ones just like so. Oh, the second ones are already spaced out. Look at that. I have these just in case I want to. What I've done in other applications like this in the past years was take these spark plug spacers, you drill out that hole if it gets in the way, and then it pulls the O2 sensor away and makes it think everything's good, and then it runs fine. Another thing I'm going to do is wire wheel off all these ceiling surfaces. So you can see it looks like it, that one doesn't necessarily have an exhaust leak. Well, maybe a little, but exhaust got past where it ideally wants to go. And also there's some little welding flaws in there, or fabrication flaws. So I'm going to take a die grinder with this doohickey and kind of clean that out. And I even have a finer one too that gets into even smaller spaces if that's too reckless. And get these ready to roll on this bad turkey right here. So based on what I was able to get off with the other wire wheel while I was getting the old muck off the mounting flanges, I'm going to use this even sketchier wire wheel. So try to get some of the other spots that I can. Everything else I'm probably not going to worry about. And then we'll continue on to what else I'm going to do with it. With them, whatever you want to call it. And now let's tackle those other things. Next up, I'm just going to smooth everything out. I have this super old flappy wheel for this. I don't even know how old it is. So next thing I'm going to do is, you can see like right there, there's like kind of like a nick, and there's a couple little spots, like maybe from when I was moving these around or something, or maybe they got damaged when they were new and transported. So I'm just going to kind of go around, knock the high spots off just the edges with this bad Larry to the best of my ability. And I'm just going to make sure on all these spots that I messed with that there's no high spots out of the middle. And I'll just quickly knock just those little burrs down with that again. And getting pretty close to ready to raise this thing on up and remove the old stuff to put that stuff in. All right, so we got this bad Larry in the air, and that's that thing I want to take care of. I hate that, but the other airbox doesn't really work anymore because I'm missing most of the parts, and that one's washable and it's less dirty than it looks because it's naturally gray. There's my custom hood prop. I also want to fix some of this mess because I never fully unmessed all this stuff when I put in the brake line kit from a company that I think didn't do a great job making a brake line kit. And yeah, so the biggest thing is I got to get this thing out of the way and throw some lubricant or whatever, penetrating oil, on those studs and get the O2 sensors out of the way. Down below, I've had that on and off a million times, so I'm not super worried about that. And pretty basic stuff. So I managed to get everything loose, and then I realized I have to pull the entire exhaust system because down here there's not enough room to get the downpipe portions of the original manifolds off of the rest of the exhaust. So I'll be pulling that, but that'll be another night, which will be in the same video. Don't worry, stay tuned. And some of those bad Larrys just came out with the stud, but nothing broke. So there's that. So I got them soaking in some penetrating oil of sorts. And I'm gonna wire brush those and try to like jam a couple nuts on there and work them loose. And hopefully they're still usable. All that good stuff. And I'll toss these in there too. It's a new day after work, so I'm gonna get back to this. These exhaust studs have been soaking, so I'm gonna get to what I'm gonna do on those. In the meantime, I'm gonna get the exhaust system out of the way so I can pull these manifolds, verify fitment on these, and then get everything, all the penetrating oil cleaned up on that side of the engine block from making a mess here, to get ready to install them. So we're gonna cook on through it. So in the process of getting these out, running into some hang-ups, I removed the front subframe brace thing. The exhaust is undone and held up and moved back. I may have to move it out of the way more. I haven't been in this area of the car for a while because I did the coolant pipes like 7 years ago. But yeah, O2 sensors for the rear ones plug in here, and I'm mostly filming this so I can remember. I cleverly zip tied everything up there so it wouldn't get down and drag stuff, but hopefully I don't forget to do all that again. And more updates after I struggle more. So I'm sure I could have Googled this, but they kind of sort of come right at the bottom. Just had to unhook the O2 sensor thingies and kind of weasel them out with that brace thing off of there. So interesting thing is I've been wondering for a while if this car had a slight exhaust leak, because it kind of sounded like it when it was cold. And looks like I had many of them. So this is something that needed to be addressed anyway. So like, best case scenario, I probably would have wanted to take this off the car and maybe like re-weld around here. And then I'm sure these are completely clogged because this thing has over 250,000 miles on it. And they're probably original. And then here, this kind of tells the tale as well that that was probably an issue. So I guess I need to get all the studs on before I do a test fit, because at that point I'm probably not going to want to yard them back out. That wouldn't make any sense. So time to get to what I'm doing with those. So here's the solution, hopefully. So that wouldn't back off all the way, so the whole stud came out. And what I've done is I jammed two of the other nuts together on the stud. This has been soaking overnight. I used a brass brush and kind of like brushed on the rusty, crusty bit to hopefully free some stuff up. And instead of going loose first, I'm actually going to go tight first because it already went that way. And then I was going to kind of work it back and forth. Anytime I get too much resistance, I'll just go back. Well, it's really not that bad. It just came out of the head easier. So that one worked. Off. Okay. So now that that works so well, and that stud's perfectly usable, let's try another one. So I did get the nuts off of all of these, just to make it short and not boring. The ones that were stuck on, I was able to put two of these together. The reason that I was able to put two of these together, and that allowed me to put this in the vise and get the other part off. I was just careful not to overdo the force I was putting on anything. And these were kind of a pain because they're locking nuts. And I didn't try anything else because I think this is a weird thread pitch. So, got them all off to make things not boring. Comment if you have more questions on that or whatever, or feel free. And now to test fit everything. So before I do that, the factory stud configuration does not utilize every hole, and the original manifolds, oh, this is that rear one with the leaking thingy. The original manifolds have more meat on the flange than these ones. See how these are kind of separated? So I was kind of concerned. I decided to ask internet E46 groups about it. They suggested running E46 ones of these and then just adding the studs, because it does have the stud holes. However, some of the folks say that it's not necessary to add the extra stud holes. And also I can drill holes where there already is a spot and make this have all the holes. At any rate, I ordered the extra studs because it's just an extra sense of security on there. I'll just feel better about it. So I threaded the studs back in, the ones that were there in stock configuration. This O2 sensor actually hits this other header. So I have to probably like cut the weld, break it loose, tilt it that way, and re-weld it in is my thought there, what I need to do. That's just secured with like two of the nuts, so I kind of know where it goes. So I got the bung holes welded to the best of my abilities with what I had. It took forever because I used the MIG or the TIG, but the MIG would have been a lot sloppier, even though this is not the kind of stuff I've really done. So gonna get these under the car, gonna get the stock exhaust kind of where it needs to be, and then I'm gonna kind of just formulate what I need to have everything connect and MIG weld tack it in place. So things dry fit in there. The header barely clears the motor mount. I actually didn't have to remove the motor mount, and kind of wish I would have seen a lot of people's stuff because, well, I found out part of why this doesn't line up so great. I think these are for M54 from what I saw, because the things turn the other way and whatever, and the exhaust is different on those. Like this only has like goes back to like a single, you can't see it in the video, but it goes back to a single outlet, and then the other ones don't. So anyhow, biggest thing is that I didn't really have to mess with this O2 bung because supposedly, well, the internet, multiple sources and people I know say that these downstream O2 sensors don't actually do anything besides tell the ECU how nice the cats are or whatever, and that doesn't matter anymore. So that's going bye-bye, and as you can see, this really doesn't line up, but that doesn't really matter because I'm gonna cut this one off right about there like I did with that one, and then I'm gonna reuse as much of this as I can and just make everything connect, because why mess with that when I gotta mess with that anyway. So that's where I'm at with that. Since we're talking about things not fitting, these holes are too far apart for the ones on my car, so I have a solution to that. Alright, I didn't really film any of that because it was just over an hour of me cutting and cussing and cutting and cussing. So here's what I came up with. I don't really love that it's just aluminized tubing, and I don't love a few other things about it, but that's what I came up with. And my patience is almost gone on this, so I think I'm just going to MIG it instead of TIGging it. And well, maybe I'll try to TIG that tighter area. We'll see how I feel. And we got everything on there. Mostly when it's planned. We have the O2 sensors routed up along the firewall. They look a lot sketchier than they are. I put them in that space age looking stuff like what was right here. That's actually just there because the old setup produced a lot of heat and those were trying to melt. And then that's something I'd like to address because I kind of took the rain tray out because well, I wanted to let some heat out of the engine bay and it seemed kind of heavy, so worth a try. We have the block off plate here for the air pump, which evidently only blows air at the things that are no longer there. I have all of the studs in there. Some of those nuts are older nuts because apparently I couldn't count when I ordered riding around in the work truck based on my picture, but you know, we had enough old ones that were good. And down below, everything's all re-secured. And I don't love the setup, but I made it work. So I'm about to fire it up soon here and see what it sounds like. And just to clarify my exhaust, you can see 1, 2 stock resonators, and then it just routes itself out from there. So that's all it is. And then headers. I have an extra resonator sitting around, so if I decide I don't like how it sounds, I will be adding that to stifle it down. Seems to run fine. Oh. So there's that. So it doesn't seem as bad now. I'm really hoping that whatever's coming out of there is related to this little bit of smokiness that was coming off of here. So hopefully something in the headers was just burning off. Even though they are used, they weren't very used, so kind of hoping for that. But it doesn't sound like there's any exhaust leaks. It seems to run fine. So hopefully it's okay. So as you can see, we're almost at operating temp, and the smokiness is almost gone. Well, stay tuned for the next episode where I'll be driving this. It'll either be on the road or on a track or something, some kind of drift event. I don't have insurance on it, otherwise I would take it on a test drive today, so gotta be legal beagle. So seems like it runs fine. That smoking that it did when it started seemed to kind of subside, so I'm thinking that it was just kind of burning something off. But we'll keep you posted on that. And so far it seems like it runs fine. Gave it a couple light blips of the throttle because I didn't want to make my neighbors upset, but it seems like it runs fine. Seems like it responds to the throttle fine. And the noise isn't too bad so far, but I'll really know once I'm driving it on the road. So got an extra resonator just in case, and thanks for tuning in to Skid Row's Racing.